Hi, this is Brian Fogarty, and this is a video for Chapter 4 of the book Quantitative Social Science Data with R, the second edition. In this video, we're going to do is start looking at variables. So you can see I already put in the section heading here, and I have, excuse me, the code chunk. All right, so in the previous one, we kind of just did a quick look at overall, like what does the data set look like. Now we're going to start digging in on these variables. Okay, so when we read in the 2020 Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation with the CSV, we saw there was a specification that told us there was, I'm trying to remember, 33 character variables and 35 double. And it says, like, if you use spec, the function spec, you can look and it'll give you that. And that's true, and I include this in the chapter. But what we commonly use within the sort of tidyverse realm is we use a function called glimpse. All right, so glimpse, and then the data object, the tibble that we want to look at, CSV data. Okay, and so this spits out. We get this output here. Okay, it tells us the number of rows and the number of columns. Again, the columns are the variables, the rows are the observations, right? And these correspond to what we're seeing up here in the environment. So it gives us all the different names. It gives us a specification. That's what this is here. So the first three are character, and then the rest are double, which again are numeric in some way. It could be integer, could be regular numeric. And then it gives us a quick sort of glance or look at the initial values here. So this again is sort of just like a check to be like, okay, is this what we think it is? If we wanted to look at the values of a specific variable, there's a number of ways you can do this. One very common sort of old school way is we can use a function called head. Which will give us the first handful of values. I think 6 is the default. So how we do this is we do head and then the data object, which is CSV data, and then we use a $sign, and the $sign allows us to specify what variable we want to look at. So let's look at council area. So just to show you, down here in this output, you see all the $signs. So it's saying, like, it's CSV data, $sign, and then this. So let's look at this. So this will give us the first handful of values in council area. Okay, so they show the 6 ones, Aberdeen City, which we can actually see up here, right? This is the same thing. If we want to see the last handful, we could use tail, which is a repeat. The head and the tail, right? There's something with the whale involved somewhere. Okay, so that shows us the last values are West Lothian. Okay. We also, which we'll do more of when we get into descriptive statistics, is, we might want to look at like a summary. Just gives a sense of, like, what are the values here. So this is really common. So we're jumping the gun a little bit, but we can use a function called summary. And so let's look at this total population just as an example. Okay, and what this does is that it gives us summary statistics. You see down here. I think, even if you haven't sort of done quantitative social science, you probably come across the mean, which is the average, and the median. This just gives us an idea of the variable. All right. One of the things that is in the chapter, and I want to introduce here, is using piping. So it's not exclusive to tidyverse, but it's widely used in all the tidyverse code and grammar and everything like that. So what piping does is that it connects functions together in some way. I know there's some technical definition of it, but what I do is basically, how I think of it is it allows us to connect different functions together, so we can do a whole bunch of things at once without needing to do a bunch of steps to get to the end product. We can put it all together at one big thing. And so there, you can read up on it and everything like that. And there's different kinds of operators. We're going to make use of just one throughout this book, and we're going to use it a lot. So what I want to use it with here is with this function called count. So count is literally what it sounds like. It counts the number of observations for a given variable. How many observations are at different, say, categories, right? All right, so let's take a look at this. So we're going to use the CSV data. All right, so we do CSV data, and then we're going to use this is a pipe operator. So it's the percentage greater than percentage, and so what this does is that it connects us to the next row, the next row in the code, and it says to do that with combine this what we're telling it. So we declare the data, and then we do count, and then the variable. So let's look at council area. Okay, do that, and this produces a table here, which is alphabetical. So you can see on the output, right? It says a tibble 32 by 2, so meaning that there's 32 rows to this. So there's actually 32 council areas in Scotland, and then the 2 is referring to the 2 columns. So the council area and then this count here. Okay. All right, so again, we're going to use this a lot. There's a whole bunch of things you can do with count. It can be useful. I use it just really like as a simple check on a lot of things to be like, does this look like the way that I want it to look? So like one option we could put in here is to sort it. So let's take a look if we put this in. So what this did by including this option sort is it just sorts the values based on n. So what this is showing is, so Glasgow City, there's 746 data zones. I should have mentioned that. But if you're going through the book, you'll see that the unit of analysis here, the observations are data zone, and they're grouped within a council area. So Glasgow City has 746 data zones within this, within it. All right. So again, this is really just like quick how we look at the data. Normally, we will do glimpse, and then we might target a handful of variables to figure out how they're coded. What do we want to do with them? Are they in the right order? So one of the things that we might want to do when we get to doing statistical analysis is look at the classification of the variable. So the character double. So for instance, let's do this. We can do class. We already know the answer, but this is a very standard way of looking at the classification of variable is class, and this just tells us that it's a character variable. This stuff matters when we're doing statistical analysis, because we can't like run a regression with a character variable, at least sort of standard way of doing it. All right, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.